Welcome back. This audio is called Stop Negative Beliefs About Money. What if you could make a simple shift in your life so that you stop just getting by and start creating true wealth? Not only is it possible, but it's easier than you might think. In the last audio, we talked about words that attract money and wealth and words that repel money and wealth. In this audio, we're going to add to that secret formula to transform your wealth. Do you remember what represents your beliefs? It's your words and phrases. Your words are a manifestation of your beliefs. You have to change the words that you use because that's one layer of the money manifestation formula. You also have to change your beliefs for a true transformation. The reason that most people struggle with money and are not making the kind of money they want is because they have been taught and programmed to struggle with money or programmed to a limited amount of money. When I was 26 years old, I was making significantly more money than my father ever did, but it was in the same business that he was in for 30 years. I passed his income in just 2 years. That sounds like a great thing, right? And it would be if I had a healthy relationship with money. But at that point in my life, I did not have a good relationship with money, and I was very naive. I felt guilty and uncomfortable making more than my father at such a young age, especially because it happened so fast. My money programming was messed up. So what do you think happened? I sabotaged my success. My life was a roller coaster of money's ups and downs because I wasn't comfortable with making that much money. The biggest obstacle to wealth are your beliefs about money. If you do not reprogram your mind for wealth, you will always repeat the same patterns and repeat the same struggles with money, even if you come into a lot of wealth. Many people will make you feel bad about having lots of money. Maybe they say it directly, but most often they'll say it indirectly. And that can sting even more because it's like a surprise smack in the face. Let me share an example with you. My friends had been married for 20 years at that point. He bought her a new wedding band ring for their anniversary. When they got married, there was no way he could afford a nice ring like this. But over the years, they had been very successful in a family business they created together in a big part. At the party when he gave her the gift, their guests and their friends said things like, "Wow, must be nice to have a rock that size." Others said things like, "Man, that thing costs more than my car." And they said to him, "What did you do so bad that you had to get her a ring like that?" Many were joking, maybe, but the reality is that deep down these comments come from jaded, cynical, and jealous people. It's unfortunate that some people make comments like that, especially when they're friends and they steal part of the joy of the moment. A few close friends were supported and congratulated them on 20 years of truly happy marriage. Others complimented about how beautiful the ring is and how beautiful of a gesture this is. But sadly, many were sarcastic. Don't let the dream stealers and the cynics dull your shine, making you live your life small or make you feel guilty about your financial success. Cynics, they'll always be cynics. If not you, to the next person they meet. You've earned your money and you deserve wealth and you deserve to enjoy your wealth. Guilt-free. There should never be shame or embarrassment about that. Also, don't let your doubts and the cynicism keep you from being wealthy. Also, don't let your doubts and cynicism keep you from being wealthy. You have to be aware of the potential sabotage from others, but most importantly, the sabotage that comes from within yourself. So here's 3 steps to empowering money beliefs. Step 1, stop attaching money to moral values. Your parents, education, society, and even entertainment like the movies have programmed you to believe that money is inherently evil and that a lot of money will corrupt you. It's absolute bullshit. There is nothing evil about money, not even in the hands of evil people. Some people might be evil, but money is simply a tool or an instrument to transfer from one person to another. How it is used, that's up to the person, not the money. The person is the one that's evil or good. Money doesn't have a mind or an agenda. Money doesn't say, "Hey, I think I'll corrupt some people today," or "Who can I steal from today?" Money doesn't corrupt you. Corrupt people corrupt people. The cliches and sayings about money being evil originate from people misinterpreting money and the sayings about money. The most common quote about money comes from the Bible and has filtered down into virtually every culture on the planet. The origin of the phrase from the Bible says, The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from their faith and their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. 1 Timothy 6:10. What does this mean? That in a person's greed, they have lost their moral direction that causes pain in their life. Even when preachers and pastors around the world quote correctly from the Bible, what is often heard and understood and generally emphasized about this Bible verse is that money itself is evil. But that's not true, and that's not what the verse says. That's not what's written in the Bible. Our minds will remember the simple version of what we hear that fits the context of what we already know. Most of our Western culture stems from Christianity. Why does this matter? Even if you're not a religious person, it matters because most people were taught some version of money is the root of all evil. This means your parents, your teachers, the authors of the books you read, the producers of the movies that you watch, and the news that you watch are most likely created by people who have the subconscious belief that money is the root of all evil. I speak from experience. My father was a pastor and my grandfather was a reverend. They both had negative money issues and they both struggled with money all their lives. So what happens? The idea that money is evil has filtered into the life of everything that you consume, which means that subconsciously you are constantly being programmed for money scarcity, and you don't even know it. It may seem like a good phrase to help guide people with a moral compass, but what actually happens is that the phrase that money is the root of all evil, which is almost always misinterpreted, programs the subconscious mind for guilt and shame about money. If you have guilt and shame about money, what's going to happen? You will struggle with money, and if you end up with a lot of money, you'll waste it, you'll spend it irresponsibly, and you'll give it away because you don't have the emotional ability or stability to have a lot of money. But don't worry, you can and you will change that in this program. The phrase, money is the root of all evil, is interpreted that if you have too much money, it is not possible to be a good Christian or not possible to be a good person. It is interpreted that if you have a lot of money, then you must be a bad person, maybe even an evil person. And that's in direct conflict with your religious beliefs. And even if you're not religious, it's still in direct conflict with being a good person. Or if you have a different religious belief, it is still in conflict, and you hear this phrase all over the place. And some version of it is probably repeated in your religious beliefs. Who wants to have a lot of money if the consequences are that you're a bad person? A bad person doesn't go to heaven. A bad person isn't rewarded. So nobody wants that. So what happens? You sabotage your wealth with bad spending habits and bad money behavior, or you never make a lot of money in the first place, so you never have to get to that place of potentially being bad or potentially being a bad Christian. And it doesn't matter if you're Christian, spiritual, Jewish, Buddhist, or agnostic. If you went to school, if you watch TV, if you watch the news, if you read books, if you read newspapers, if you read magazines, and if you watch movies, you are being programmed to be broke by people who do believe that money is the root of all evil. Not directly, of course. It's not said directly in the movies and the books and so forth, but indirectly, subconsciously, and subtly. And this is what I'm bringing your attention to, so you're aware of how and where this is happening. And this is the most dangerous part because it goes under your conscious radar. It slips right in, deep into the money programming of your mind. Because most everything you listen, read, learn, or watch is created by people who have some version of money is evil in their mindset. Don't believe me? Think of a villain in the movies. Any villain. Is he rich or is he broke? The protagonist, the hero, is he or she rich or broke? In nearly every single movie, book, or story, the villain is very rich, often quote-unquote filthy rich, and the hero is broke trying to right a wrong. It is always a version of David versus Goliath, the everyday little guy versus the evil rich jerk or the evil wealthy corporation. Here are some examples that you're probably familiar with. Fast and Furious. Dom is a mechanic from the hood with good family morals trying to do the right things against the evil villain or the evil government. Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps. The greedy Wall Street tycoon faces the moral compass of his daughter and the boyfriend. The hobbit Smaug and the dragon sits atop a mountain of gold. Superman and Spider-Man fought against many super rich villains, just to name a few. Even in the cartoons and kids shows, there were rich villains. Scrooge McDuck from Disney, Montgomery Burns in The Simpsons, Dr. Doom in Marvel Comics. What about the classic story of the street boy who wants to win the princess's heart in the story Aladdin? So those are pretty obvious examples, so how about something more subtle in romantic movies? The Notebook. This is how the movie is written and described. Quote, "A poor yet passionate young man falls in love with the rich young woman, giving her a sense of freedom, but they are soon separated because of their social differences." Unquote. Allie is told that she needs to stay away from Noah and marry someone who comes from a proper wealthy family. Here's another romantic movie, Endless Love. The wealthy daughter of a doctor falls in love with the mechanic from the wrong side of the tracks. Her father forbids his daughter to see him because he could never be good enough for her. Here's one I'm sure you know, the movie Dirty Dancing. The girl from a rich family falls in love with the broke dance instructor. She is forbidden to see, quote, "those kind of people," unquote. The Titanic, Aladdin, Robin Hood, Moulin Rouge, Beauty and the Beast, Crazy Rich Asians, Love Actually, and many more are love stories forbidden between the rich and the poor. Are you getting it? Do you see how we're being programmed? Our whole life we've been programmed that rich people are evil and the broke people are good. The hero that's struggling from modest means. This is insane. This is everywhere, and we wonder why we're broke. Think about it. Why are rich villains easy to hate? The villain is rich, which most people are not and never will be. And he is not just rich, but he is a rich, arrogant, greedy bastard that wants to hurt others. The hero, on the other hand, is broke, but he has a strong moral compass, trying to right the wrongs of the world. The hero is easy to love. He's a good person, he's good looking, and he's fighting for the right reasons. There are some rich heroes, but just a few. And often the rich hero is somebody you love, but you also find obnoxious. Iron Man is an arrogant playboy, but you love him because he's fighting his own internal demons, but he's still a jerk. Bruce Wayne is a mysterious, dark, emotionally broken, and reclusive. Lara Croft is a tough, rich hero, but she's also cold and emotionally troubled. 50 Shades of Grey is another example of a wealthy hero you love to hate. This is part of the program and part of the reason that most people are broke. Most people watch a movie as a form of escape and entertainment. That means they're watching without awareness that while entertaining, the messages are programming their mind at a deep level because they are relaxed and they are enjoying it. In other words, it's seeping into their subconscious mind and they're not aware of it. Does this mean that movies are bad? No, of course not. I love to watch movies. I watch very little TV and very, very little news, but I love movies. I'm sharing this with you because if you do not have the money and the wealth that you want and that you know you should have, you must understand why you are continuously being programmed for money struggle and money limitations. You are constantly being programmed for money scarcity and that rich people are villains. Rich people are evil. If you want to reprogram your money vibration and your money set point so that you can be wealthy and financially free, you need to be aware of how negative subconscious programming is happening. It can be from family, friends, the movies, and it also comes from yourself because you're replaying all of those things that you've learned consciously and subconsciously. And you also need to know what you need to change, or you'll keep repeating the same habits and you'll keep getting the same results. So just to recap, step number 1 was stop attaching money to your moral values. Step 2, stop thinking you don't deserve money and wealth. It's easy to feel like you don't deserve money and wealth because you've been programmed to be broke, but also from past experiences that can really mess up your money mindset and vibration. I'll share this story with you to illustrate. When I was a child, my mom and I would sing a song waiting for my dad to come home from work. My parents were very traditional. My dad worked and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. I remember being small enough that my mom was still holding me in her arms and we would sing these words at the front door waiting for my dad to come back home. Clap hands till daddy comes home, 'cause daddy's got money and mommy's got none. And we'd literally sing it that way. But as a little child, this is a cute thing. You don't have to be an expert in money mindset to understand that those words, that stanza of the song, is really messed up at so many levels. Now, granted, this song was meant to be fun and an endearing moment for me to share with my mom while waiting for my dad, which of course I absolutely adored. But those words, oh man, they're messed up. It's some really bad messaging. We could dive deep into this one, but let me just point out a couple of things. It presupposes that women cannot and should not make money, and that the woman is dependent on her husband. Now, there's nothing wrong with a single family income. Many couples around the world want this style of relationship. The problem is that with this programming, it says that only a man is the income earner and the woman is not capable. It doesn't directly say that, but that's what the messaging is that goes into your subconscious mind. Making the matter worse, my mom sang this with my little sister. So what do you think the likely scenario is for her? She will learn some bad money programming that she had to reprogram to be financially successful. Maybe you didn't have your mom singing a bad money programming songs like this to you, but you have experienced perverted money programming. Maybe when you were a child, your parents fought over money. Maybe your family was broke and had creditors after them. Maybe you experienced a divorce through your parents, or maybe one of your own. Or you experienced bankruptcy through your childhood or as an adult. All of these things will erode your self-worth for wealth and money, especially events that were traumatic like parents fighting over money, a divorce, or bankruptcy, yours or your parents'. Self-worth and positive money program should be taught in school, but of course it's not. It should be taught by your parents, but of course it cannot be taught by your parents because they probably had bad money programming too. Or they grew up at a time where money and wealth was not considered important. Or they grew up in a time like the Great Depression that radically altered the cultural expectations about money for everyone at that time. There's also programming like this: go to work for a good company and they'll take care of you. But of course, that doesn't work out well for most people with downsizing, outsourcing, and global economic changes, especially in the moment we're currently living in. We live in a very different world than our parents grew up in, and we live in a very, very, very different world than our grandparents grew up in. The good news is that it's never been easier to make money and to be wealthy. And it has never been easier to reprogram your mind for wealth because there are so many wealthy people as examples now and so much money education. It is easy to believe that you don't deserve a lot of money when you have bad money programming and bad money experiences, or if you have had bad money relationships with your parents or your spouse. To move past these experiences and to reprogram your self-worth about money, first you must adopt and embrace the truth that these experiences were not your fault or your problem, but it is totally your choice of where you go from here. You can choose to be wealthy from this moment forward and choose a different financial path going forward from this moment now. Repeat after me. I choose wealth from this moment forward. Say it out loud. I choose wealth from this moment forward. If you catch yourself in a negative money belief, in a negative money spiral, in any sort of negative situation, you hear something from someone else, or you're reminded of something, or you make a money mistake, say that out loud to yourself. I choose wealth from this moment forward. That's great reprogramming. It forgives you for what you've done in the past, and it allows you to make better choices going forward. It's a clean slate from that moment. And it doesn't matter how many times you can say it. You can say it over and over and over. You can say that 15 times a day if you catch yourself saying lots of negative money experiences. Repeat that as often as you want, because that will become part of your subconscious programming. So, first, forgive yourself. I know, this sounds like new age bullshit, but it's critical to your financial success. We have bad money programming and experiences, and we all make mistakes. We also hold on to mental garbage for far too long. And don't say you don't do it, because I know you do, because I do, because everybody does. We all do this, so stop doing it. Have you ever got mad at somebody and stayed mad at them, but then months or years later, you couldn't even remember why you were mad at that person? Okay, so I know you don't do this, but maybe you have seen this in other people, right? You got that grumpy old uncle that couldn't forgive someone for something they did 50 years ago, and they're still talking about it at every Thanksgiving dinner. You'd never do that, of course, though, right? You're not holding on to what happened, but what you are doing, or that grumpy old uncle, what he's doing, is holding on to the emotion of that experience. Listen to me carefully, because this is super important. You're not holding on to what happened, but you're holding on to the emotion of the experience, and that emotion is what's going to affect your decisions and your habits and your beliefs going forward. That's because what happened wasn't all that bad or wasn't all that important, but how it made you feel is what bothered you, and that imprinted your subconscious habits and beliefs. What happens when you forgive your friend or simply decide to move past that event? Everything gets better, right? You no longer have to hold on to that emotion. You change that emotional imprint about that event when you forgive yourself, when you forgive that other person, when you forgive that moment. The same thing happens with money events. Whether you were collateral damage to an event such as your parents going through a divorce or a bankruptcy, or you were the reason for a financial problem such as running up too many credit card bills, the first thing you must do is forgive yourself and forgive anyone that was directly or indirectly involved. Without doing the emotional work to move beyond the past, it is impossible to reach your financial dreams and to be wealthy. Why is that? Because you will continue to be pulled back to the emotional money programming that says, I'm not worthy of money. It may not be those exact words, but that is the emotional essence of what is holding you back. How do you do this? When you remember a negative money event, recall everything you can about it. Then imagine it as an outside person to see the event from an outside neutral perspective. Actually kind of think of it and look at it. And if you want to visualize it as a third person looking in. So imagine like your friend looking at you through this event. That will help you see the event in a better way and less emotionally attached. Now, forgive yourself for what happened and forgive anyone that's involved while you're in that third person state. So you've already forgiven yourself in the first person state. Now you're recalling that event, looking at it as a third person state, and then forgiving yourself and the other people involved again. Do this every time you remember or feel the emotions of a negative money event, or negative money words coming out of your mouth even. You may release it for the first time, but if it keeps coming up, that means there's more emotional work to be done and move past it. This is like pulling back the layers of the onion to get to the core. We all have many layers of emotional baggage, emotional bullshit. And don't say you don't, because I know you do. Because I got it, you got it, we all got it. Nobody on this planet, there's not a single human who doesn't have emotional baggage attached to money, attached to relationships, attached to sex, attached to work, attached to everything we do. We're human. This is what the human experience is about. This is what the human journey is about. And if we're going to get better, if we're going to have a better future, financially, emotionally, with relationships, with everything, we need to pull back the layers of the onion, get rid of them, and move forward in a better way. Don't get hung up on how easy or hard this experience is, this forgiveness exercise, or how long or how short it takes. Focus on the process and doing the work whenever the money demons of your past show up. Welcome the memory and the event, do the work, and move forward with confidence, knowing that this is the way to a better future. This is the process. Now, this might sound new agey if this is the first time you're hearing it, but if you keep repeating the same things over and over, will you ever get a different result? No, of course not. So if you want a different result, stop thinking this is new age or this is too silly or frou-frou or whatever you want to call it, too woo-woo for me. Stop thinking that. If you want a different result, try something different. Do something different. If you want to be guided through this process, you can get that training in the full program, the Money Vibration Code. You can find that link to this program on this page and get instant access if you're not already a member. If you are, I'll see you there and we'll be doing this together. Step 3, stop being vague about money goals. Here's a money goal that I hear some people saying. I want to be a millionaire. Sounds like a great goal, but what does it mean and how will you get there? A millionaire can mean many things. You can have $1 million retirement account, but that's for your future. You can have $1 million in business revenue, but that might not be profit. You can have $1 million in real estate, but yet 90% of it is in debt and mortgages. You can have $1 million net worth of real estate, and you can have $1 million of cash in the bank, or you could be earning $1 million per year net income, meaning that's what you take home after taxes per year. So what does a millionaire mean? A lot of definitions. A millionaire can mean many things, but not all of them are good. I bring this to your attention to show you how vague goals can be. Vague goals never happen. Repeat after me. Vague goals never happen. Vague goals never happen. Vague goals frustrate you and they negatively program you. Vague goals will also get you in trouble. Why is that? Because if you have a vague goal and you never achieve it, then you are actually programming yourself not to achieve your goal. That's why you need a specific goal. So what is a specific actionable goal? To be debt-free of credit cards and auto loans within 6 months by December 31st, 2021, whatever the year is. I will have $20,000 in cash savings emergency fund by June 1, 2021. I will be earning an additional $2,000 a month net and a second stream of income by my side hustle by March 31st, 2022. Now, these are specific, attainable, measurable goals. These are goals that are specific and actionable. These are goals that you can control the outcome. In other words, these can happen because you can take the right actions and it's not depending on things outside your control. So here's some examples of bad goals. I will be a millionaire. I'll save some money. I'll make more money. I want more money. Okay, dude, here's $1. Now you have more money. You achieve your goals? Yeah. Did it help you? $1? Probably not. The problem with all these goals is that they are vague without a clear understanding if you have succeeded. If you saved an extra $10, did you reach your goal of saving more money? I don't know. How did you save it? What did you save it for? And what will happen with it? When you have vague goals, you have no idea if you are winning, losing, gaining momentum, losing ground. I'm a fan of huge, audacious goals. I mean, I'm the guy that ran across America, so I love big, crazy, stupid goals. I live nomadically for part of the year. I don't live a normal lifestyle, so I love audacious goals. The way those huge life-changing goals happen is by achieving a series of small, everyday, and mundane goals that make achieving the big goals possible. Like, I didn't run across America. I didn't even run a marathon a day. I didn't even run a mile at a time. I ran one step after the other, after the other, after the other. If I remember right, I think it was approximately 35,000 steps a day it took to run a marathon a day. And I did that 100 times in a row. So I had my big goal of running across America, the smaller goals of running a marathon a day, the smaller goals of running a mile, and the smaller goals of taking one step. And some days, taking that next step was brutal and took everything I had. But that's how big goals are achieved, one step at a time, literally. When you set specific, attainable, actionable goals, you will raise your money awareness, your money self-worth, your money habits will improve. This will raise your money set point. It will raise your money vibration. For example, Larry is in debt. He has $7,000 in credit card debt. He has a car loan and he has a mortgage. The mortgage is most likely a good form of debt. I explain why that is in the full Money Vibration Code program. But a car loan and credit card debt is bad debt if it was used to buy consumer goods or spend more than you earn. I'm not saying that all car loans are bad. Sometimes they are good. But most of the time, they're not a great choice because people are buying a car that they can't afford. They're using their credit cards to buy things that they can't afford, and odds are it's frivolous or unnecessary things you're buying. So if Larry stops the cash hemorrhaging, that's already a big win. That means he is cutting his spending and his overhead and increases his income so that he's not going deeper into debt. It's called a balanced budget. That's called financial neutrality. You're not getting deeper in debt, you're not getting wealthier. Then Larry starts to pay off the $7,000 in credit card debt with 2 specific and highly effective ways of fast debt reduction that I taught him. Finally, Larry pays off his car so that he is debt-free, other than his home mortgage. It took Larry 9 months to make this happen, but he's happier, he has less stress, and now he's building his true net worth. Now he's going into positive territory for the first time in his life. Larry's example is common, having debt and car payments and being financially negative each month. Larry never thought he could be debt-free, and he never felt good about money, but now he's gaining momentum into creating a life of financial security and a lifestyle he truly loves. The next step is to raise your money vibration, and we're going to talk about that in the next audio. But before I end, let me remind you, if you're not already a full member of the Money Vibration Code, there's a link on this page. You can go ahead, join the family, and get started today.